Ahoy, everyone. This is David Eugene Perry with our ongoing series of interviews with friends, colleagues, artists, and writers around the world, talking about how we get from what I call the great pause that was 2020, I should say, not 1920, into the great recovery of 2021. And today I'm delighted to be in the Zoom room with a dear friend, colleague, and fellow author, Judith Fabris, and we're going to be speaking about her new book, The Missing Driscoll. Judith, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. How are you this afternoon?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Good.
So let's get right into it. Tell me, how long have you been an author and how many books do you have under your belt?
Oh my, okay. I have been writing forever. My first piece was when I was 8 years old, right after the Second World War. And I wrote about visiting an LST boat for the day with my grandfather. And the teacher liked it so well, she had it put in the local newspaper. So that was my first taste of being on stage. So
isn't it great the first time you see your byline? Isn't it exciting?
It was very, very exciting. And then my career, I started writing columns before I started writing books. And I was in the securities industry, and I decided that people weren't educated, and especially women. So my girlfriend and I got together and we wrote a book called The Women's Financial Survival Handbook. And then New American Library asked for us to do a follow-up, and that was the Women's Investment Handbook, but they're both out of print, probably out of style and out of sync, just because of the time that has evolved. And then I have another book. Before I left the securities industry and retired, I had a book. I taught children as a loan executive out of Schwab to go to the school and teach kids about stock market. So I did a lot of that, and I thought, oh, I have to write lesson plans. Why don't I use that as a book form? And the book form is on ebook now. So I don't even know if there are any hardback. Well, not hard, they're soft cover books left anymore. But I started writing when my husband and he retired, I retired, and he got very ill, and he didn't want me to leave his side. And I needed something, because he was really sick. I needed something to, just get me out of where I was. So vicariously, I would sit at my computer and I would just go away. And that's how I survived for 10 years. And I love writing. It's my passion. And believe it or not, I have another book coming out. It's in edit form right now called Altered Consequences. And my most exciting news is I'm going to go to graduate school. How about that one?
Well, you're breaking news on my show. That doesn't happen often. Well, let's deal with these in segments. Before we go to talking about the grad school and your new book, talk to us about the current book that's out. Now, this isn't your first fiction, correct?
No, it was the third fiction. I wrote one about happening on Molokai in between. But Missing Driscoll, I liked a lot. It was fun to do, and I was kind of mysterious, and it made you think about what kind of things people could do that weren't very nice. And so I used a lot of where I'd been, what I'd done, and the detective in the story is a good friend. She's not a detective, but she said to me, I want a Christmas present. I said, all right, Viley, you can have your Christmas present. What do you want? I want to be a character in your book. So she's a detective in the book. So
you have real life inspiration for your detective.
Yes. And she looks like I described her, and she's a delight. But anyway, I used her and I used another friend, but I try not to make them exactly like, because then people would know who they really are, but she knows who she is.
I know what you mean. As you know, we both had books come out this past year. My mystery thriller, Upon This Rock, has been doing really well. And one of the characters in the book, I won't say who it is, but you and I can talk privately, but there is a character in the book that also is inspired by someone I know in real life, who I've known for many years. And this person once said to me jokingly, if you ever write about me, make me tall and blonde with long legs, which my friend Definitely is not. So in
I
my
think
book,
that's
I have
great.
someone who's very important, who's tall and blonde, as I like to say, a real shiksa. And my friend gets a kick out of knowing that only the two of us know who inspired her. So,
Oh, that's good.
what is it that inspires you to write and come up with? As you said, you like writing about people that aren't very nice, and that's certainly not you. You're one of the nicest people I know.
No, I was trying to get in. My kids are telling me, Mom, your stories aren't dark enough. You've got to make make people bad, and I don't know. I'm trying. And I like different kinds of people. I like to do different kinds of things. I imagine everything. I knew what was going to happen in the Missing Driscoll before I even started putting it on paper. And it just wrote. And that was very interesting to me. And this next book that's coming out will be the conclusion of the Missing Driscoll. So
So
then I'll have my.
we've got a series that we might see on Netflix. Who knows?
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh my gosh! Have you ever tried to get into Artisan of and Authors? Their creative agency.
I have not, but as you know, I'm very intent on trying to get a screenplay made of my novel. So maybe I should contact them.
They won't even talk to you unless you come in through a lawyer.
Well, I have lots of lawyer friends. I'm named for two, a crooked one and a not so crooked one. So maybe that'll help. I don't know.
But anyway, that's what they wouldn't even open my letter. I wrote a personal letter to somebody that I thought would like my Sergeant's Lady, which was the first of the series. And I got it back in an envelope, and it said, "Dear Ms. Fabris, we do not accept anything that doesn't come through a publisher or the lawyer. And they won't take anything that's not traditional." So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I understand where you're going, because I would love to take one of my books and turn it into a screenplay.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the writing business is, two parts: the writing and then the selling it. And selling is hard. It's
well, I hope. Well, you are a lot younger than I am, and so I hope that you have had a lot more success. I've got my spreadsheet from my publisher for the last year, and I couldn't live on it. I couldn't even live on it for a day. That's how bad it was.
Well,
So
there's a wonderful group in Facebook called Authors Helping Authors, and if you're not a member, you should be. I love it, and it's
okay. I'll remember that. Thank you. I'm writing it down.
Well,
I'm writing it down right now.
And that's why I started this whole series. Every other Sunday, I will be interviewing a new author and posting it on my site for Upon This Rock, just so we can help each other. I mean, we have to.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So So tell me about grad school.
I'm sitting in my desk and looking, and I see something on just a little pop-up about get an MFA in fine arts, get a creative writing. And then I saw this about this little school in Vermont, which everything, because of COVID, is online.
Mm-hmm.
It's been in existence since 1938. And there's only 400 students in the school. And it's just like a mentoring program.
How wonderful. And it's all online.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So it just takes money.
Well, like everything.
Judith, just money.
Yeah. We've got a few minutes left. Talk to me about what the last year has been like for you. I remember when we met a few years ago, you were volunteering for the wonderful local theater company, Dezart Performs, doing incredible work, even during this time when we can't be on stage. They've managed to do some great virtual performances, and they're coming back. I mean, I just get so inspired by
I hope. I've been with them for 11 years. And the reason that I am with them is because they read a play of mine that I had written for public, and it was the first time it was performed. And they got a guy in from LA who couldn't pronounce the Italian names. He made mishmash of it, but it was fun. I love live theater. It's so much more than going to the movies,
Well, I mean, so the
And
last year we haven't had any live theater. How has it been for you during this last year? I mean, have you felt,
lonely.
yeah,
My children won't let me go anywhere. I have to go to mass online. Um,
that must make communion difficult.
you don't, it's called a spiritual communion. And I see a couple of my friends at a distance. And then I had this angel help me at the grocery store a few weeks ago.
Don't know who that was.
I don't either, but I couldn't have opened my door to the car for any reason if I hadn't had your help, David. It was very, very special.
Well,
I really
it was
appreciate it.
serendipity. It just goes to show you that even behind masks, socially distanced in the parking lot of Jensen's, you can see people smile.
Absolutely. And then you can see my books in
Well, I did see the books in the
okay.
in the boot. So,
Yeah.
Judith, what advice do you have for a young writer or a not so young writer who thinks I have a book in me, but I've never really written? What's your
Right. 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 Just continue, and even if you don't like it, I have so much stuff in my drawers and closets of writings that I've never done anything with. And I don't know what to do with them yet. I think I want to get rid of them and start with a clean slate. But right now I am void of ideas. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to go to grad school, because I figured that they'll inspire me to do something better, because the thesis is another novel. And so I'll come out with another novel, which is
well,
very exciting.
maybe one of the main characters is an author of mystery novels. Who knows?
Maybe that might be that's a very interesting thought.
So,
That's a
you are one of the most energetic and optimistic people I know. I think it's one of the reasons I gravitated to you. Now the
Well,
news
thank
is
you.
coming out that COVID vaccines are becoming available. Alfredo and I heard the other day, the possibility of when we'll get ours sometime in the spring. We're in 1C, I think it is. Have you had a chance to register for yours yet? Are you in line?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I spent a half an hour on the phone last week waiting to talk to someone at the Riverside Health Department. And then I get this young thing on the phone. Hello, how can I help you? And I said, I'd like to get the COVID vaccine. Oh, call your doctor. Goodbye.
You're kidding. And this
No,
was a real person.
this was a real person.
So
So I'm going to see my doctor tomorrow. So I hope she'll have something to tell me that will help me
well,
get where I'm going.
yeah, I mean, I would never give away a lady's age, but I think you just might be close enough to be in the group to get the vaccine. I certainly hope so.
I'm very much closer than you expect. Everybody tells me I'm a lot younger. That I have a lot more energy. And I think that's one of the things that this last year is done. I had terrible, terrible pneumonia in March when I came off my cruise. And so my daughter insisted that they give me a COVID test. The COVID test was negative, but I spent 3 weeks flat on my back with this pneumonia and high fever. It was awful. And my daughter came and lived with me to take care of me because,
I remember.
yeah.
Where was that cruise?
So the cruise was to South America. We went to Ushuaia. We started in Buenos Aires. I think we started in Buenos Aires and then came back and ended up in Santiago.
And obviously no cruise for a while. Although, are you anxious to get back?
Well, it would be lovely to get back. I've had one scheduled with my sister for the next July and part of August to the British Isles. I don't think it's going to be feasible.
That's this July, 2021.
Yes, I don't think it's going to be feasible.
Well,
I don't want to take the chance.
I understand. I will send you some information. Our dear friend Bill Miller, who's a maritime lecturer, sends out a bi-weekly column on how COVID has impacted the cruise industry. And I just got one today, and it's just awful. As you know, I worked in the cruise industry, went around the world twice. That's how I came back and met Alfredo, actually. So it's very near and dear to my heart, as are the many, many people I've worked with. And it's just been devastated. And we are hearing that if the vaccine continues to work its way through the population, that maybe by summer we'll have some cruises. So fingers crossed. July is possible, Judith.
Yeah, okay.
Don't give up. Don't.
I hope.
As my supposed ancestor Oliver Hazard Perry once said, "Don't give up the ship." So don't give up the ship. Judith, anything else you'd like to say to your friends who I know are watching?
Oh no, it's just been so much fun doing this, and I just wish everybody would have great success with their books. There's so many good books out there that are not traditional, and the bookstores don't look at you. They don't. It's really it's between a rock and a hard place, David. You know, I wish I were about 30 years younger so I could keep running up and down the streets. You know.
Well, here's to running up and down the street soon with our books to book signings in person. I'm hopeful for spring for both of us.
I hope so.
All right. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you. It was fun.
Fabris, author, friend, colleague, and make sure you pick up her new book, The Missing Driscoll. You can find it online and order. It's a wonderful, wonderful mystery. I'm enjoying it. I'm not all the way through it yet, but I will be soon, and I'll be talking about it. So, Judith, on behalf of all your fans and readers, thanks very much. Ahoy.
Thank you very much.